Welcome back to Mira Business FM. The time is just coming up to 1:20. It's the 2nd of September. You are listening to Daybreak with me, Inzamam Rashid. Now, I've got to break some news that might make you put down your phone. For the very first time in the UAE, influencers, yes, those smiling faces who tell you what protein shake to buy, what lipstick to wear, and sometimes even what stock to invest in, have officially become the least trusted profession in the country. According to the latest survey by Insight Discovery, 1 in 5 UAE residents now say that influencers have the worst reputation of any profession. That's worse than telemarketers, worse than credit card companies, and yes, even worse, and I say this lightly given that we are funded by real estate developers, even worse than a real estate brokers. Imagine being less trusted than the person who cold calls you at dinner offering the deal of a lifetime. And honestly, I get it. One day, an influencer is flogging you diet tea, the next they're experts in cryptocurrency or real estate. It's like career progression at the speed of Instagram stories. But before we maybe rip into them too much, let's remember, this isn't just a list of who we roll our eyes at. It's a reflection of who we trust with our money, our decisions, and our time. To unpack these results, I'm joined by the man behind the research, the CEO of Insight Discovery, Nigel Sillito. Nigel, finally, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on Mira Business FM.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's great to see you as well. Nigel, this is your 7th annual survey. Influencers for the first time overtaking credit card issuers. That feels like a seismic shift. Okay, seem to...
Can you hear me?
And now we've got you, Nigel. Yeah, I was saying that this is your 7th annual survey, and influencers are overtaking credit card issuers. It feels like a bit of a seismic shift.
Sorry, it's been a really bad line. There have been loads of technical issues. Can you please repeat the question?
I'm sorry, hopefully you can hear me nice and clearly now. I was saying this is your 7th annual survey, influencers overtaking credit card issuers. Yes. It feels like a bit of a seismic shift.
Yes, it is. Influencers started appearing on our list about 3 years ago, and they now occupy the top position, followed by telemarketers, credit card issuers, and then recruiters. There are many more who are mentioned as well.
Just tell us a bit about how you conduct this survey, Nigel. Who was asked, and how wide was the sample? How does it all work?
Yeah, sure. We do PR and research, so we always want to make sure any research we do is statistically valid. So we use YouGov to help us. They have a poll, and they invite over 1,000 people living and working in the UAE to participate. And then we boost the response rates through our own efforts.
And why do you think influencers, Nigel, have climbed to the top in 2025 specifically? Why this year?
I think it's a global trend. I think a lot of people are fed up with behavior and antics. Also, many of them have been accused of buying followers, of course. And sometimes they are promoting products which they don't either use or believe in, but they're still promoting them because there's a commercial vested interest, which isn't always disclosed.
So, look, your survey, and we'll get down into a bit more detail very shortly, but your survey has become a bit of a kind of annual naming and shaming. I think it was kind of branded as the Oscars of the least reputable job out there. How serious do businesses actually take these findings, though? Have you noticed businesses kind of reaching out to you and actually taking the findings on board?
Certainly this year, since I appeared on a different station this morning, I've received more requests than ever. And I don't want to kind of knock recruiters or estate agents or even credit card issuers, because I've got many friends who work within these sectors. So all we're trying to do is alert various sectors that maybe they should be trying to work harder to improve their reputation. And I think if you look at the professions which often come out worse, they're the ones which pay commissions instead of salary. So there is a very strong correlation between reputation and the way they reimburse their employees.
That's interesting. Let's look at the headline though. So influencers, 1 in 5 residents saying that they have the worst reputation. What's gone wrong for the influencer industry, do you think?
I think it's partly because of the rise of finfluencers, who are obviously financial influencers, and many of them who are now living in the UAE have gone out of their way to promote unregulated schemes
Mm,
and also cryptocurrencies, many of which have gone bust. So I think quite a few UAE residents have had their fingers burnt, not necessarily because of influencers, but because of this niche finfluencers. But the good news is that the ESCA regulator, which is one of several regulators here in the UAE, have brought in new licensing rules. So if you're a finfluencer, as of May this year, you need to have dual licensing. You need to set up a company, and you also need to get a license from the UAE Media Council. So they're making it harder. And if you are a finfluencer and you make wild claims, you can be heavily fined. So that's a step in the right direction.
yeah, that's interesting. And I guess the survey kind of then, bolsters that need for all that regulation by the authorities out here. When you kind of think of finfluencers, I think I'm saying that right. It's a difficult
Yes,
word.
right. Yeah, you are.
Do you think, Nigel, that there is a way that they can rebuild trust, or is it kind of a reputational slide that's irreversible now?
No, I think with the new ESCA regulations coming in force this year, a finfluencer will be very wary about giving advice without being regulated,
Mm,
because not only could they be fined, they could actually go to jail. So whilst there haven't been any cases so far, I sense there might be in the next 6 months or so. So I think it's encouraging that financial services, particularly for influencers, is getting tough. And one of the reasons why financial advisors and bank advisors have improved their reputation over the last couple of years is because there's far more regulation for firms working and operating in the UAE.
Absolutely. But then, with given obviously you have come on today and outlined that it is finfluencers that are having the kind of impact as a result of making them the kind of least reputable people in the UAE. But it does have a huge knock-on effect to just kind of everyday influencers as well. Then, right? They are then kind of painted with the same brush.
No, but we're not identifying just finfluencers. And when we asked this question, people came up with influencers, social media
Mm,
influencers. But because most of my clients are working in the financial services sector, I have this feeling that one of the reasons why influencers have such a poor reputation over here is because of finfluencers, which is
mm.
this subsection. And also, if you think of the number of influencers who've come to Dubai for, let's say, a month or two, and kind of glorified it too much or done some really outrageous things to get clickbait. I don't think some of these overseas influencers have necessarily helped, but it's worthwhile pointing out that an influencer coming to the UAE for a 1 month or 3 month holiday would also have to have some sort of license now.
Yeah, that was just introduced a couple of weeks ago. A new license for content creators arriving
Correct.
in the country, which of course just shows you the steps that the authorities are taking to have a bit of kind of control over what narrative, I guess, is also being put out there in a good way to ensure that people aren't getting negative information or trying to be, I guess, journalists and giving out incorrect information. Let's move on to the next job role, which was telemarketers and call centers. They were
Yes.
at 19% in your survey. I don't think anyone is shocked there. Why does telemarketing remain such a universal pain point?
I'm sure you also receive many cold calls every week,
So
and
many.
often the name of the company doesn't appear when it should. particularly if it's a landline. So I think it seems to be on the rise. And of course, it is unauthorized. You can be fined, particularly if you're an estate agent making cold calling. But one of the people I met earlier in a radio station receives 2 calls a day from different estate agents cold
Wow.
calling.
Wow.
So it's a real problem over here.
And that then links to real estate agents as well, forever in the bottom
Yes, of
5.
course.
High fees, broken promises, still the main issue. Are there new concerns in 2025 that you found?
I think with estate agents, they weren't as bad this year. They're still ranked 4th, which is pretty consistent. But because the property market here has boomed so much, and if you own a property and you're renting it out, or you've seen the value go up substantially, then to be honest, you probably have less of a grudge against real estate brokers.
And then recruiters as well. They've crept up slightly in distrust from 9% to 11%. What are job seekers and recruiters telling you as well?
Well, recruiters normally are the worst, so they've been consistently the worst. Last year was actually credit card issuers. So in some respects, you could say that their position has improved slightly over previous years. I think there's been more regulation for recruiters, and also this place is again booming. There are far more job adverts.
Yeah.
So people are quite more dependent upon recruiters than ever before. And I think from the friends I have who run recruitment companies, they've had a bit of a wake-up call over the last couple of years, and they're trying to be far more transparent and also far more in communication with the candidates, which didn't always happen in the past.
Yeah, I mean it's another saturated field, and I think that's the kind of the theme that we get with a lot of these kind of roles that are in the top 5 here, Nigel, is that many of them are very saturated fields. Is that fair to say? Does that have a correlation?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And also, it's worth pointing out that it's very easy to set up, for example, a recruitment company.
And of
Less
course,
so for a state agency, because obviously you need to go to RERA and do the exam. But recruitment companies, you and I could decide to launch a recruitment company tomorrow.
yeah, I don't think we'd be hiring influencers, though. That's definitely off the list. Amidst the doom and gloom, though, Nigel, there were some professions that did improve. You mentioned there, of course, recruiters, that they aren't the worst this year, and they weren't last year, so that's improving. But financial advisors, both bank-based and independent, they've actually seen reputational gains. That's quite a bit of a turnaround, isn't it? Why is that?
I think it's because there's far more regulation, and a lot of the brokers who were regulated by, let's say, the UAE central bank have decided to become regulated by either the DFSA, which is in the DIFC, or down the road in Abu Dhabi, where there's even stricter compliance rules. So I think financial advisors are getting better qualified. They have more professional procedures in place. So for me, it's quite good to see that financial advisors, which have been lambasted often in the past, seem to have a better reputation. But there's far more regulation, and I'm sure that's a big factor.
Yeah. If you had to pick one of these industries, Nigel, that could most easily turn around its image, out of all of them, which one do you think it would be and could be?
Okay, the one that I think could enhance their reputation even more are financial advisors, because if they club together and actually started a campaign to alert UAE residents about why they shouldn't deal with an unregulated firm, of which there are many in this part of the world, who make outrageous claims like they guarantee 2 to 3% a month, I think that would do the industry a world of good. So they should, as a body, get together, raise some funding, start advertising on the Sheikh Zayed Road, on, let's say, your podcast, on radio stations, just to alert people about why someone should always go to a regulated entity, because there are still way too many scammers getting away with it in the UAE, either through brokerage firms, crypto businesses, or wealth management companies that are not regulated here nor anywhere else in the world.
Nigel, obviously, this survey gives us some incredible insight and some great results. But what does the survey tell us more broadly about trust in the UAE? Do you think we are getting more demanding as consumers? Are we getting a bit more skeptical in some ways as well? Kind of in that broad narrative, what does it tell us about trust in the UAE?
It's still missing, obviously, in certain professions and sectors, but I think people are being far more sensible and doing a lot more research before they will commit investing with someone or buying a property. When I'm looking to deal with a company, I look at Glassdoor to see what the reputation of the company might be. I go to Trustpilot. So there are all these um, um, engines around where you can do some research on a company before you actually start dealing with them. So I think consumers as a whole are just getting far more fussy, which is no bad thing. And as an example, when it comes to financial advice, you need to make sure that the firm is regulated.
Of course.
If the website doesn't list their management team, that for me is a red flag. Why wouldn't you want to list the directors and the individuals actually managing the business? And another giveaway is when they post on LinkedIn, if they don't allow comments to be added, that again is a red flag because they're worried about people like me or others who
Catching
understand
them out.
financial services, maybe asking them some very testing questions. So there are about 8 red flags which I think are worth looking at. And that's why I think the financial services industry is the one that has the biggest opportunity to actually improve its reputation if they club together and actually made people aware of these red flags.
Interesting. Nigel, tell us just why at Insight Discovery, essentially, you do this, and also how important that you found over the last 7 years this kind of a survey is, particularly out here in the UAE.
Sure. I mean, the motive was from 7 years back. We're a comms company, and most of our clients are financial services. So I thought it'd be a good idea to find out what the reputation of wealth managers and financial advisors were. So
Mm.
that's why we started it. And we're an open book, so financial advisors get a bashing. We're happy to announce it through this survey. And for many years, they did have a pretty poor reputation. So we do it, I'll be honest with you, mainly for PR purposes because we generate a lot of media coverage for our business through this one annual study.
Absolutely, but it's interesting. Like people are genuinely interested to hear about it, and I presume people are quite interested and also taking part in it as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. No, I love it. It's my favorite research study every year.
I bet it is. Nigel Sillito, CEO of Insight Discovery, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. We will not be setting up a recruitment company where we'll be hiring a load of influencers and real estate agents anytime
I'm glad
soon.
to hear that.
Yeah,
I'm glad to
Nigel,
hear that.
thank you for your time. Much
Nice.
appreciated.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nigel Sillito
Thank you.
there, the CEO of Insight Discovery, talking to us about their latest survey, revealing that the least trusted profession in the country are officially influencers, taking over those people who try and sell you credit cards and loans and all that kind of stuff, and recruiters as well. Recruiters, in fact, haven't been the number one for the last couple of years, which is interesting to Nigel. He says that their reputation is improving. You can, of course, catch that full interview with Nigel if you just missed the beginning of it here on Mira Business FM. You can head to the YouTube page where we will be posting that interview and many other interviews as well. Remember to hit the subscribe button and you can catch up with all our conversations that we have here on Mira Business FM. The time's coming up to 1:40 on the 2nd of September. This is Daybreak with me, Inzamam Rashid.